The Vietnam War changed the way helicopters were used forever. Faced with dense jungle, mountain ridges, and no front lines, the U.S. military relied heavily on rotary-wing aircraft for mobility, firepower, and survival. This video documents every single helicopter type used by American forces during the conflict. Let's begin with the utility helicopters. Bell UH-1 Iroquois, the Huey. This machine became the very symbol of American involvement in Vietnam, serving as the Army's primary workhorse for nearly every mission type. It featured a distinctive two-bladed rotor system, which gave it that iconic thumping sound heard across the jungle. While vulnerable to small arms fire, it performed every role from medical evacuation to gunship support, becoming the soundtrack of the entire conflict. Bell UH-1E, the Marine Corps variant of the legendary Huey. This helicopter served as the primary utility platform for marine aviation units operating along the coast. It featured a rotor brake and reinforced airframe specifically designed for shipboard operations and forward area resupply missions. While sharing the standard Huey's vulnerability to ground fire, it provided the Marines with crucial mobility throughout Hawaii Corps and became their most deployed rotary asset. Sikorsky UH-34 Seahorse, the transitional workhorse before the Huey era. This machine carried Marine Corps assault troops during the conflict's early years. It featured a radial piston engine mounted in the nose and distinctive clamshell rear doors for rapid cargo loading. While underpowered in Vietnam's hot and humid conditions, it introduced an entire generation of Marines to helicopter assault tactics and proved the concept that would define the war. Bell UH-13 Sioux. An early light observation helicopter, this small machine operated as a scout platform during the conflict's opening phase. It featured a simple two-seat bubble canopy design originally developed for civilian training purposes. While limited by minimal payload capacity and zero armor protection, it provided crucial early reconnaissance before more capable observation types arrived in theater. Next on the list are the heavy-lift helicopters. Unlike the utility types, these machines were designed specifically for moving artillery pieces, vehicles, and bulk cargo across terrain where roads simply didn't exist. Boeing CH-47 Chinook. The backbone of Army heavy lift operations, this twin-rotor giant dominated cargo missions throughout the entire war. It featured a tandem rotor configuration which allowed it to carry external loads exceeding 10,000 pounds beneath its belly. While its large profile made it a tempting target for enemy gunners, it provided unmatched lifting capability and recovered hundreds of downed aircraft, saving millions in valuable equipment. Sikorsky CH-54 Tarhe, the Flying Crane. The most powerful helicopter deployed to Vietnam, this unusual machine handled lifting tasks that no other aircraft could manage. It featured an insect-like fuselage with the cockpit positioned above a bare skeletal frame, allowing oversized cargo to be slung directly beneath. While rarely seen compared to the ubiquitous Chinook, it retrieved damaged helicopters, positioned artillery batteries on remote mountaintops, and even carried entire modular field hospitals into forward bases. Sikorsky CH-37 Mojave, a 1950s-era interim heavy lifter, this aging machine operated in limited numbers during the early war period before better options arrived. It featured twin piston engines mounted in distinctive pods on either side of the fuselage and clamshell nose doors for direct vehicle loading. While plagued by mechanical complexity and poor high-altitude performance in tropical heat, it filled a critical gap in heavy lift capability until the Chinook became widely available. Next on the list are the attack helicopters. Unlike the utility types, these machines were designed specifically for close air support, armed escort missions, and actively hunting enemy forces. Bell AH-1 Cobra. The world's first true attack helicopter, this revolutionary machine transformed aerial warfare when it arrived in Vietnam. It featured a narrow tandem-seat fuselage measuring just 3 feet wide, reducing its frontal profile and making it an extremely difficult target. While lacking the heavy armor of later gunship designs, it delivered devastating firepower through rocket pods and miniguns, clearing landing zones and escorting vulnerable transports throughout the war's second half. Bell UH-1C Gunship. An armed variant that preceded the purpose-built Cobra, this modified Huey served as the Army's interim attack platform. It featured an uprated engine and external hardpoints bristling with rocket pods, automatic grenade launchers, and door-mounted machine guns. While slower and less maneuverable than dedicated gunships, it provided essential fire support during the early and middle war years before the Cobra reached full deployment. Hughes OH-6 Cayuse, the Loach. The nimble scout of hunter-killer teams, this tiny helicopter deliberately flew at treetop level to draw enemy fire and expose hidden positions. It featured an egg-shaped fuselage and four-bladed rotor system, which gave it exceptional agility during low-altitude maneuvers. While intentionally operating in the most dangerous role imaginable, it provided real-time intelligence and marked targets for accompanying Cobra gunships, forming one of the war's most effective and lethal tactical partnerships. Bell OH-58 Kiowa. The alternative light observation helicopter, this machine operated alongside the Loach in reconnaissance and scouting roles. It featured a larger cabin than the OH-6 and a distinctive bubble canopy offering excellent all-around visibility for the crew. While slightly less agile than the Cayuse in tight maneuvering, it provided reliable target acquisition and artillery spotting, particularly during the conflict's later years. Next on the list are the observation helicopters. Unlike attack or transport types, these machines were designed specifically for low-level reconnaissance, artillery spotting, and airborne command and control missions. Huey's TH-55 Osage. Primarily a training helicopter in stateside service, this small machine saw limited deployment for light observation duties in Vietnam. It featured a simple piston engine and two-seat side-by-side configuration derived directly from a civilian design. While offering minimal performance and virtually no combat survivability, it provided basic flight training for thousands of Army pilots before they transitioned to combat-ready aircraft types. Hiller OH-23 Raven. An early light observation helicopter from the 1950s, this machine operated during the conflict's opening years before being phased out entirely. It featured an exposed metal framework, tail boom, and a distinctive goldfish bowl canopy surrounding the crew. While limited by slow speed and minimal payload, it provided initial observation capability and emergency medical evacuation during the advisory period and early escalation. Next on the list are the search and rescue helicopters. Unlike combat types, these machines were designed specifically for recovering downed aircrews deep behind enemy lines, often while under direct fire. Sikorsky HH-3, the Jolly Green Giant. The workhorse of Air Force combat rescue operations, this modified transport became the primary means of recovering downed pilots over North Vietnam. It featured armor plating, self-sealing fuel tanks, defensive machine guns, and an aerial refueling probe which extended its operational range deep into hostile territory. While dangerously vulnerable during low-speed hover rescues, it represented hope to every airman flying missions over enemy territory and brought hundreds of them home alive. Sikorsky HH-53, the Super Jolly Green Giant. The upgraded heavy rescue helicopter, this enlarged machine served as a more powerful evolution of the HH-3 design. It featured uprated engines, heavier defensive armament, and improved avionics for night and all-weather penetration missions. While presenting an even larger target during vulnerable rescue hovers, it provided extended range and greater lifting capacity for complex extractions deep in Laos and North Vietnam during the war's final years. Cayman HH-43 Husky. The local base rescue helicopter, this unique machine, operated as the crash rescue and firefighting platform, stationed at every major airbase. It featured intermeshing counter-rotating rotors, which eliminated the need for a tail rotor and gave it exceptional control during low-speed operations. While limited to short-range missions near airfields, it provided immediate response for runway accidents and perimeter security incidents, saving countless lives during base emergencies. Next on the list are specialized Marine Corps helicopters. Unlike Army types, these machines were designed specifically for amphibious operations, shipboard compatibility, and Marine Corps expeditionary doctrine. Boeing Vertol CH-46C Knight. The Marine Corps' medium-lift workhorse, this tandem rotor helicopter served as the primary assault transport for Marine infantry throughout the war. It featured a rear loading ramp, reinforced landing gear, and folding rotor blades designed specifically for shipboard operations and confined landing zones. While limited in lifting capacity compared to the larger Chinook, it provided the tactical mobility that defined Marine helicopter doctrine and remained in frontline service for decades after Vietnam ended. Sikorsky CH-53C Stallion. The Marines' heavy-lift champion, this massive helicopter operated as the largest rotary aircraft in the Marine inventory. It featured a six-bladed main rotor, a wide rear loading ramp capable of accepting light vehicles, and folding components for efficient shipboard stowage. While mechanically complex and maintenance-intensive in jungle conditions, it provided the raw lifting power for artillery batteries, bulk supply operations, and emergency aircraft recovery missions that lighter helicopters simply couldn't handle,